Good morning and welcome to our public forum on the new Stoughton High School. My name is Joel Walk and I am the Vice Chairman of the Stoughton High School Building Committee. I just want to introduce the people that are going to be giving the presentation today. First of all, our architect, Drummey Rosane Anderson, is represented by Scott Wooden. And our construction manager, Consigli Construction Company, is represented by Christian Reardon. I got it right this time? Okay, all right, good. And we will be giving a presentation and we will also be able to answer questions. I see that Principal Miller is here from the high school, so if you have any questions having to do with the high school operation itself, she's available. So once again, welcome, and I'd like to turn the meeting over to Mr. Wooden. Scott?
So I'm just going to real quick run through a few pieces of information. Kind of tell you a little bit about the timeline in general and talk a little bit about where the design of the building ended up. Right now in the process, we're just receiving some of the sub-trade bids being received by the construction manager for site and structural steel, and the main overall building package is going to be sent to the construction manager for bidding at the end of May. So it's still on schedule for starting in construction right at the end of the school year, the day after graduation. They're going to fence off the site and we're going to start seeing site work starting right away. So as I mentioned, the GMP set, that's a guaranteed maximum price set. The final documents are going out May 24th. Mobilization of the site on June 9th. Bid trade contracts, developing guaranteed maximum prices, that's kind of the whole bidding process with the contractor. This is when they'll be under contract for the entire project. And as we've said all along, we're still on schedule for starting in July, actually in June, all the way through August of 2019. We'll be building out the site and building the new building, except for where the existing building is. So where the existing building is, once the school is occupied in September of 2019, that summer, as soon as school lets out, the kids won't be occupying this building anymore. They'll be moving into the new building in 2019. We'll be taking this building down, and then we'll be developing the football complex, which will be here, and the tennis courts, which will be over in that area where the existing parking lot is currently. So a real quick review of the design. As I just mentioned, the existing building is going to be torn down and the football complex and tennis courts will be built. That'll be the summer of 2019 to 2020. But the site plan, which I bet most of you are familiar with, is relatively unchanged through the development of the design. We have Pearl Street up here and Adams Street along the south edge. The building is a courtyard, radial plan around a courtyard with entrances on the east and on the west sides. Parent drop-off and car drop-off is intended to be on the east side. Bus drop-off is along this long queue on the west side of the building. The soccer complex and track is to the north. There's a storage building here, a concession building and bleachers associated with the football stadium. And parking is kind of organized around the building. A major lot here on the west side, which is intended for student parking. Faculty parking will be along these three parking areas around the east, south, and west sides of the building. That shows you a nice aerial view of the campus, how the building will be situated on the site. I'm going to try to get out of your way a little bit so I'm not blocking you people over here. Another aerial view of the building. This is showing the main elevation here, so this is what we'll see from Pearl Street. The gymnasium volume is here. Admin and guidance is here. The main entrance for the parent drop-off or car drop-off here. Classroom wings off to the north side. And you see this element right here that's a clear story which has lights, and it'll bring a lot of light into the deep spaces within the main lobby of the space. Oh, let me just, okay. Another view of the main elevation that's right at the front entrance to the building. And that is the front entrance of the building. So this is the overall view from Pearl Street. And that's the view from the bus drop-off side. So from the bus drop-off, this is where the buses would queue along here. So this is the gymnasium, or the auditorium volume beyond. This is the art and music wing right here. So this entrance in the lobby connects right through. So if you enter from the bus drop-off, you're looking right through to where the parent drop-off is on the opposite side. And this is the classroom wing off to the left. Some other overall views. This one on the top is from Adams Street side. And this just has some detailed sketches of the concession area at the football stadium. There'll be some seating over there, some seating here. The concession building is toilet facilities as well as a small concession area where food and drink can be served, as well as there's some electrical closets in there as well to control the sound and lighting systems. And this is just a little bit more detail of the main entry, but you can see that a little bit better on a couple of sketches that we have a little bit further on in the presentation. There's an outdoor classroom, and there's also seating and vegetation in the courtyard space. So the student commons, which is the cafeteria space, that can access directly out into the courtyard where there's a few seats out there that they've discussed that being sort of a senior privilege that some kids could be allowed to go out there for lunchtime. This is a view of the main entrance. So there's a seat wall and some vegetation to ease the hardscape there. There's a lot of pavement there, obviously, because there's a lot of people circulating within the space. But we introduce some vegetation, some trees, some low plants to soften that space a little bit. Another view with the gymnasium in the foreground here on the left. It's approaching from Adams Street, where you would kind of wrap around that corner and go into the main entrance. And there's a view of the main entrance with these elements I just described. Another aerial view. And again, accentuated with lots of benches for kids waiting to be picked up, or just hanging around after school or in the morning before school, before they enter school. The overall floor plan, I'll just very quickly describe that the general organization is that the four major assembly elements: the auditorium, the gymnasium, which is raised above the locker room, the student commons, which is the cafeteria, the library, media center is above that. Admin and guidance is here. Music and art stack over each other here with an acoustical floor to separate the spaces. And then the classroom wings are organized up here. There's 6 different wings to the classroom, organized by department. In the center is a planning room and a collaboration space, and then classrooms around the perimeter. That's the general organization of the building, and that's reflected on first floor, second floor, and on the third floor. The third floor only has the classroom wings to the north. A recent development that might be new since the last community forum is the park that's being developed along Pearl Street, which is behind the bleachers, and this is applied for and been approved for CPC funding to augment the budget for this element. And it just softens the back, because it's always been a concern that the back of the bleachers go a little bit higher than the sidewalk elevation. So we wanted to soften that with some planting and with some nice landscaped area. And this is how that area is sort of developing. And with that, I'll turn it over to Christian. He can run through the schedule and some of the... Yes, sir.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
We have a high school, so many students going to be there. There's a couple of developments that are coming into Stoughton. One is the Taj Estates over near the school. 178 apartments. I keep asking this question, and that's all I keep hearing is it's taken care of. I want to make sure in 5 years we're not putting an extension on this, and there possibly could be another development coming in here. Not sure yet. Has that been considered when you did all this? Or the state, which we get majority of the funding, has this been considered by them to add some classrooms? I hear the number 25. I'm not sure.
Nope.
The agreement that was made with the MSBA for this school and for the funding for this school was predicated on a certain number of students. And Julie, what's the number of students? 1056 that we were designing to. Okay, so at that time, which was during the statement of interest a couple of years ago, 1056 was the number of students that this is designed for. Now, on past projects that I've worked on, sometimes that comes in over, sometimes it comes in under. In Milton, for example, they based it on a certain number of students. They did all the schools, but then when all the schools were done, a whole bunch of people that were sending their kids to Catholic schools suddenly came back and said, you know what, I think we'll send our kids to the new schools. So it's very hard to predict. Could you put up the floor plan, please? Oh, wait, the site plan? So one of the things that we built into this is that that's actually good enough, okay. Okay, so one of the things that we took a look at when we built into this is what happens if, say, 20 years from now, and some of us may still be around, in 20 years, what happens if we get an explosion and we have like another 300 kids that were going to the high school? So this school is designed so that this area here, a new wing can be put on if it has to happen. And that way we have the ability to expand. We don't see the ability to expand within the next couple of years if we get like an influx of, say, an extra 50 or 60 students. But in our conversations, the building committee's conversations with the school department, they feel that that can be absorbed with the current situation we have now.
You said there's room for 1051. How many do we have presently in the school system, in the high school system?
We're around 1030. We fluctuate. You know, we have a pretty big swing each year as the year
As
transitions.
you know, that complex will have 178 units, 3 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and 1 bedroom. The 1 bedroom we don't worry about. It's the 2 and 3 bedrooms, and I personally don't know how many they're there. I just want to make sure we're spending a lot of money for the high school. God forbid we have, and you say people might want to bring their kids out of private school and bring them back here. You can't, and no one will know the number. Because I brought this to TJ's 2 years ago, and he said, plenty of room, plenty of room. Just want to make sure there's plenty of room.
Well, we think that we can accommodate it. Our understanding is that we can accommodate it. But we have to depend upon the school district to tell us whether or not it can be done.
And although the design is 1056, we
Yep.
have to pick a number to make decisions about the design.
You know, within the basic structure of the school, there's always the opportunity to grow it a little bit. We don't need to add an addition just because there's 1100, for instance. So it's really whether, and you have that 1056 is a number that is arrived at, you know, with whatever science they can do to predict the future, which, as you said, you just can't predict the future. So you try to build in the as Joel said, the flexibility to deal with a major decision that there's going to be a lot more kids than you know of right now. But within that 1056, there's some flexibility to work it.
So you can say to me, instead of having like 30 kids, there's probably room for 40 or 50 or maybe 60 more kids?
Yeah, there's room within the planning that allows you to expand it and within the scheduling of the school.
You have to follow a formula too.
Well, no, the MSBA basically said our funding for this school is based on this number of students. And if we came back like 2 years later and say, we want to add 200 students to that, they say, we're not really interested in talking to you about the school anymore.
The MSBA also didn't consider any permits that had been pulled in the town.
At that time, the permit wasn't pulled.
Mr. Souza.
Good morning. It's my understanding, I could be wrong, was this projected for like a 10-year outreach lookout? Just to let people know, I do remember that there was enough growth already in there for 10 years.
That's the theory, yes.
Just want to let people know that so they don't think it's just...
Well, no, you're actually right. That's the theory. And schools that I've worked on in the past, and I know schools that you guys have worked on, you know, you do your best to come up with that, and you design for that.
But I don't want people to put a scare in it because it's not going to be built enough. If there's a 10-year expansion so people can at least realize that.
Oh, yeah, you should be able to fit it in, and there's a lot of flexibility in the way the school is designed, and that's really important because the principal can move people around, they can change classes, they can set things up, And this is a very compact school. I mean, I've done a bunch of schools, and you guys have done schools. This school is really compact, where it fits on the site. And it also, much to my, I found this out later, there is not going to be, if I recall, Principal Miller, there will not be a classroom for every teacher. Is that correct? There will not be a classroom for every teacher. There will be teachers that will have their own classrooms, but the extra teachers will have an area, which you might want to show, where they go when they're not teaching to wait until a classroom has been scheduled for their use. So the usage of the classrooms is probably closer to 100% than it ever was. This is a very efficient operation of the schools.
These are the departmental offices right here where all the teachers have dedicated space and storage. And then as they have class periods scheduled, they rotate out to the classrooms in that way.
I'm Christian Reardon. I'm with Consigli. We're actually very excited about this project. Believe it or not, we are. Is it not louder? Okay. I feel like I'm yelling, but okay. Yeah, I can make. How about now? Are we okay? Perfect. All right, so as Scott had mentioned, we're going to have documents, 100% documents, at the end of next month. What that means is we're starting off June 9th. You'll see us on site. We'll be on site on the 9th, probably starting with the driving of the fence post, putting up the pollution control silt fence, and starting to actually move earth. Probably in September, we'll start with the foundation work and roll right into the steel work starting in December, January months. As we move forward, we'll fit out the building to turn it over for July of 2019, at which time we'll move your community over into the new building, and we'll start the demolition of this building, move the site fencing and all the controls onto this new plan here. I don't know if you want to, and then a final turnover of July of 20. So as I spoke about, so this is the outline of the site fence for this summer. The little change we did here, we actually took over this area. What we're looking to do is actually turn this area over sooner as opposed to the following summer. That allows us to put it in some sedimentation controls in that area. Also, a difference was we had all the main utilities coming through here last time. We've actually since moved those out here. So come August, we're going to be all utilities will be in our job site, and this area will be untouched for you guys to continue using come the school year of 17-18. You want to advance the next one? Yeah. I'm sorry. So this is Adams Street here, Pearl Street. We have our main entrance is going to be located right here. So we have two main entrances. This one being entrance number 1. Number 2 is if for some reason we have some work going on in this area, we have this ability to use over here. In case of any sort of emergency, only emergency areas, we have an emergency exit that will go out this way. This will not be used anytime other than emergencies, so we don't want to impact the community in the back here.
And that,
I'm sorry. Parking. This yellow area. This is all parking. All parking will be inside our job site. We will not have anyone parking in your area. That's actually written into the contracts. We don't want to disrupt your community at all. If I'm sure another concern is staging concrete trucks or steel deliveries or any sort of deliveries. No one can stage any areas here. We're right now looking for parking lots that we can actually have them stage and deliveries happen outside of your drop-off times between 7 and 8 and then between 2 and 3:30. So no deliveries will happen in those times. And that's also written into the contracts.
just one other point of clarification, these two parking lots will remain still in effect for the high school, and this bus thoroughfare down to the middle school will still remain protected. They won't be taking that area during construction.
What about parking on Adams Street, like the kids park now?
Parking on Adams Street is going to be gone. So our fence is actually going to take over all that parking. There will not be any parking on there. That's going to allow us to have, it just won't be a safe situation if I've got, yeah, exactly.
Can I just, while you have that map,
Absolutely.
we have congestion every day, picking kids up all over the street. Is that all the people that are going to pick up kids, the school buses and everything? gonna be on this complex now instead of out in the streets to pick up?
Yeah, they're going to have to be. I mean, so right now, like I said, so let's say the gates open at 6 a.m., my workers have to be working by 7.
I'm talking about when this thing is completed.
Yes.
When we're completed, if you rode down here, and I'm sure you have.
Actually, do you want to advance it? We can actually show you'll see what it'll look like. I think it's like 5 more slides. Right there, there you go. So this is going to be your new area here. This is, I believe, this is going to be faculty parking, and this is going to be student parking, if I'm not mistaken.
Now, come to pick up your kids and drop off your kids, mostly pick up your kids. There's a major problem here. On this street right over here, people don't have any place to park, so they park, sometimes they double park. Is this going to be eliminated in the new building of enough people where they can drop off and parking to pick up their kids and everything else?
Yeah, I can answer that.
I hate to be a pain in the neck, but...
No, these are important questions. So, when we first move into the building, we may have a little bit still more congestion because that main entrance that comes down from Pearl Street down to the front of the building won't be prepared yet.
Okay.
But when the building is up and operational, this should be a much easier and much smoother flow of traffic to force the people to actually come onto the complex to drop their students off rather than stay on Pearl Street and stop in the middle of the road, or come onto Adams Street and stop in the middle of the road. Because it'll be a much smoother, they have multiple entrances in and out, the buses are separate entrance altogether, so I think that it's going to alleviate the
So
problem.
you're saying most of this will, a great deal of this will go away?
I believe so.
Okay.
That's what it looks like when you look at the traffic patterns.
Couple questions. So the main entrance for you guys will be down at Five Corner, correct?
No, it'll still be here.
No, for the construction. Construction will be down there, correct?
So on the far side there, that's our primary. Secondary,
What's the work schedule for the construction crew?
the work schedule.
Yeah, what time you start, what time you...
So the gates open at 6.
Yep.
They work 7 to 3:30, and then usually we'll close the gates at 6 o'clock at night. And then depending on where we are, occasional Saturdays, same 7 to 3:30.
Are you saying you guys are looking for a site spot for staging? If you're not gonna use Adams Street for parking, I mean, I know from like maybe 7 to 7:45, there should be no parking on that street for people to drop off kids and everything else, but from at least 8 o'clock or 8:15 or 8:30 to 1:30, you should be able at least to stage cement trucks, because once you guys start pouring cement, those trucks need to be rolling. If you're somewhere on the other side of town, it's not convenient for you guys.
Exactly, and if you go back to what I had shown before, we have areas, so if they're staged, they'll be in the site. We have enough area where, we could, if we're pouring this area.
On the side of Adams Street, you can still park on the right, if you're looking down the hill to the right side. The trucks, I imagine you can, but the biggest thing is get the trucks off the site.
Impact the community.
I don't think, well, like I said, even if you're off by 1:15, I don't think you would impact the trucks off the road by 1:15. I think it'd be easier to have the trucks just line up ready to go and to pour the cement and steel. I mean, that's just...
We try to time it right from the batch plant, so they're not really sitting around, because you only have a certain amount of time.
The town will work with you if you need some extra space or what. We will help you on the other end of the things, that control the, I'm sure if you talk to the police chief or the fire chief, they'll be cooperative to work with you. It's not a hostile crowd here.
No, we don't think so. My superintendent was actually supposed to be here. He's actually already contacted. My superintendent has already contacted the police and fire department.
Okay.
So he's already in
We
the
don't
works.
want to think that we're hostile people against you. We're here to work with you to make it.
We appreciate that very much.
And the alternative.
Any more questions on this particular slide? So, you want to advance a little?
I have a question.
Yes,
When you're talking about the emergency exit of where the
this
is.
one right here.
Yeah, so you're saying like vehicle emergency exit through there, is that going to be like a fence that?
So there is a fence that goes around my entire site, secured 100%. There's only 3 gates located. These will be opened every day for use. This will be locked every day.
I live right there, that's why.
We're not going to, we're going to,
Yes,
yeah, so that gate will not be opened
okay.
unless there's an emergency.
Right,
And it would be
this
just for that
after-
emergency.
After the summer, right? After summer of 2000.
Right, so when we advance it, this fence line is going to go here, and this parking is going to be for use,
It gets
not our
back
use.
over to park.
That'll be outside of our fence.
What time?
So this summer, they're gonna go in and they're
By
gonna
September.
put the
By
put the new
September of this
paving
year?
Yes.
islands in here.
Right.
And so when September comes around, this fence is gonna be.
If you want to advance to the next slide, you can see it. So here, no, did you go 2 or did you go 1?
No, that's fine. That's,
Right, so here we go. So the red depicts the actual fence line now has changed. So that gate is still there, but this is actually able to be used. So that's no longer within my control, that parking lot.
What time are you going to start the trucks in the morning?
Start the trucks in the morning?
Yeah.
So as far as, again, that's probably the biggest reason why we're having the trucks off-site. So for instance, we're going to get a steel delivery that he may be on 95 at a rest stop, right? So he's coming in, so we made that delivery, before the students come in or after that 8 o'clock hour. So there will be no staging, because that's the part that we don't want to disrupt your community, having that idling truck out there waiting, since 5:30.
But noise starts at 7. That's the
Like-
construction starts at 7.
7 o'clock, you're going to hear
That's the quiet traffic.
hammers swinging, you're going to hear reverse alarms, 7 a.m.
All right, because I've seen construction jobs where they'll start the equipment at like 5:30 in the morning.
Understood, we talked about that, yep,
So we won't hear backup alerts until 7 o'clock.
correct. Anything else with this slide? So now that we've moved on, August 19, we've turned over the building. You guys are starting to set up for the school year. We've now changed the layout of our site, so now we're occupying this area. This is all your area now. We have no contact with you guys over there. Our main entrance here is in and out of this area here. And I don't believe it depicted, but I think we had the emergency exit was going to be down here. Can you advance one more?
well, the intent on the phasing diagrams is that this area right here will be maintained until summer of 2020 as parking for this school. So, because if we just have this parking right here, we've only got about 80% of the final parking that we're gonna have. So the tennis courts and the turnover of this is intended for the summer of 2020, so that we still have that parking area during the school year.
I think there is some underground tanks here that we had to put in, so we'd take it offline that summer, but it would come back online after.
Can I go to the next one?
Yep, yeah, here we go. So here, we get those tanks that have to go in. And as you see, we're building the soccer field here. The building's been taken down, and then we'll start with the football field. Again, total separation being maintained, enough safety clearance so we can get an emergency vehicle around the site. Advance. Again, just more progress. We're starting the tennis courts now, getting ready to turn over the fields. This is the end. This is the exciting part for you guys. I don't know if you wanted to speak about the website at all?
One of the things that we did want to just talk about people who are interested in working on the project or supplying material and equipment. On the website, what is the name of the web? Which one?
The public schools one.
Yeah, so if you go to just the Stoughton Schools website, there's a click there, there's a button that is for subcontractor awards. That's where people can go and find what awards have been made, and they can reach out to those people about employment opportunities if they're construction, tradespeople. So that is going to be, that's up and running now, and we're going to start making awards in the next month or so, starting next week. So that's where people should go to see if there are opportunities, and that link takes you directly to the Consigli Purchasing Department, and there'll be follow through. You can get to talk to those subs directly about supplying material or labor if you're a tradesperson or something. Yep.
Hi, my name's Vincent Coyle. I'm the business agent for the Ironworkers of Local 7. We have great opportunities with the apprenticeship program. We have a 3-year program. If the students aren't interested in college, it's a great avenue. There's great benefits with us. And it's a 3-year program. They'll get their hands-on training, certified welders, certified rigging, signal persons to run, attack the cranes and stuff. But it's a great opportunity, and I'll reach out to the principal here, to my card, possibly if there's a career day or something, and the students that are interested, they can reach out to Local 7, And next career day or job fair, we could have some representation here to help.
So this is the business agent for Local 7, the Iron Workers. So what he was saying is they have a very good apprentice program, and there's a need for workers, frankly, in the construction industry. So if students who are not interested in, are interested in getting into construction, I'm sure other unions have similar, very proper apprentice programs. So there's a lot of opportunities for people that trying to get into the construction business. And frankly, the demographics around that employment in construction, we need a lot of workers in the industry, so there's a lot of opportunity there.
Just make sure they're not afraid of heights for Local 7. Good union, but you gotta make sure you're not afraid of heights.
Can I ask a question? Here's one union that's coming in to say, not only kids, people in the town that are looking for work, how about the rest of them to post the thing in, if they need help, to post it in a local paper, a penny saver or something, so that people in this community might have an opportunity to get a job, maybe change careers.
Yeah,
It's just an idea, you don't have to do it, but we're in a community. Some people that are looking for work, some aren't, but at least they have a chance to even apply and see if they're qualified to go into these programs.
Vinny, I think you agree is that not just your union, but all the trades are looking for
People with no experience were
Well,
accepted.
you had good school, the electrical, the
Yep.
plumbers, they all got terrific schools to go to.
Right.
But it gives someone in this town that might be looking for a job a chance to work at good wages too, because you don't start paying nickels and dimes, you start off paying pretty good. And
We have about 20 to 30 members that live in the town, so.
Okay, but it's only an idea, to at least tell the people, hey, if you'd like to live close to home and do this is a 2-year project, maybe a 3-year.
But the thing is, it's not a guaranteed union project.
Right.
Right, so it's a low qualified bidder. So for us to go out and.
It might even non-union, it's a chance for some of the same thing. Put it out and see if you get any applicant, it doesn't harm.
So this website will be the place where people will go to find those opportunities, and then, if there's also a contact button if they, for some reason, are having trouble navigating through it, and we can get back to them with that. Yeah.
Yes. It'd be nice if you put this information, say, on a flyer. Now, our library is in transition because it's also being renovated. But only about 40% of the homes in Stoughton have internet access. A lot of people, especially for jobs, rely on the array of computers we have at the public library. Starting May 3rd, our public library will close. It won't reopen until May 13th. But if this information were available at the library, and then the people, the men and women who come in looking for job opportunities could visit these websites on the library.
Yeah, we'll put a bulletin up at the library that does that.
Would it be helpful to put one on the board at the town hall also? On the announcement board on the front lobby?
The town clerk's office, to have people put things there. The library, though, is where the free public access to the internet is available 65 hours a week.
Yep.
And the comments I've gotten from people that heard the library was going to move wasn't, oh my, how am I going to get my books? It was, how am I going to keep, there are people out of work are trying to,
Sure.
They go to the library every single day, and you can develop your own mailbox and everything. So just an idea, people go to the library for information.
It's a good idea.
They go to town hall because they owe money, and it's probably not as inviting an atmosphere. But there is a bulletin board at town hall, and as someone, the previous speaker mentioned, publishing it in like a half-page ad, and the penny saver, that does get delivered free to virtually every home in Stoughton.
Yeah.
As previous speakers have mentioned, there are plenty of folks in Stoughton who don't have college degrees, who are hard workers, and they've fallen into kind of a crack, and they're trying to get out of it.
Yep. We'll get that posted on Monday. That's a
And
good idea.
we'll put something in the penny saver, yeah. The other thing that I wanted to mention before we wrap up is when also on that website, you'll find under the community resources, we will be scheduling once a week an open a town, we call it a town hall, but I mean a town, sort of a town meeting where people can come. Most likely it's going to be here in this school while the construction project's going on, that they can come and hear an update of what's happening that week, what sort of impacts. You know, we don't want to mislead anyone. Building a project of this size is not going to happen in a vacuum. There are going to be impacts, so we want to try to keep people up to speed on what the impacts are. Some weeks will be more impactful than others. So we're going to use that vehicle to sort of advise people about what's happening that coming week, what are the major deliveries, you know, what are the major construction activities. If there are disruptions in some way, I mean, we are going to have some times where we have to do work in the street, for instance. So those are things that we want to use that vehicle to give that information out to people, and also to have people get to us concerns they're seeing, because we're not necessarily going to see everything that's happening. So that'll happen once a week. We're going to probably do it once, alternate sort of an evening time to do it, and then a daytime for people that have different schedules, so that they can have a vehicle and a forum to go. We find it's better to catch issues early and when they're small versus waiting for them to become real problems on projects in terms of how we are in your community. So that's the place that we try to do that. And we do that on a lot of projects, and what ends up happening if we're doing our job right is, you know, after a few months people don't come because they're getting their information or they're comfortable with what's happening, and maybe we'll go to a more, you know, once a month schedule, but we'll continue that as long as we need to on a weekly basis. So that'll also be on that website. We haven't decided yet where to hold that meeting. It most likely is going to be here at the school somewhere, but we have to work with the school about what to do with that, how to do that. Joel?
I have a question that I ended up getting from some gentlemen down at the senior center yesterday morning. And the question has to do with the underground stream that goes currently under the high school. And how has that been addressed for the new school? I think Scott can answer this question.
There's an underground stream? Yeah, there is it's not really a stream, but there's a large drainage culvert that runs underneath the existing school and underneath the entire site, and then it goes and it daylights south of Cushing Street. We're replacing the entire line up to the parking lot of the middle school, so we're putting in a new line. It's going to be diverted in such a way that it's going to have a seamless transition. There's going to be no time where it's not functioning. They're going to put the entire new line in place, and then they're going to basically swap it over in a day, so the flow will be continual. So that line is being replaced. We just last week put a camera in to investigate the condition of the line from the parking lot down to where it daylights out at the end of the section. And that's being reviewed right now by the engineers, but I looked at it and it doesn't seem like there's any defects in that pipe. So I think we've verified that the existing condition of the pipe beyond our site is in good condition and will continue to perform properly.
Okay, so then in a heavy rain period, we're not going to see or be aware of any problems with flooding in the new school?
Absolutely not. No, the entire infrastructure on the whole site, from that drain line to every other storm drain line on the site, all of the topography of the site has all been thoroughly engineered, reviewed by the Stoughton Engineering Department, and it's going to be a substantial betterment to the drainage on the site in the future.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'd like to just go back over the timeline of the construction and demolition. When it starts, when it ends, is there a break in the middle of it? I know you guys are talking about to 2020. Does that mean that you're going to be constructing from now until August 2020, or is there going to be a break somewhere in the middle?
There's really no break. I'm gonna just, I don't know.
Construction site for the next 3 years of my life.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm hearing at 7 o'clock and 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
When I'm trying to get out.
Yeah, the biggest part of it in terms of, there's going to be a couple of windows where there's more activity and consequently more noise, which is during the earthwork operation, right in the beginning of the project, and the erection of the steel, not really that much, not as disruptive as, so the erection of the steel, when did you say that was starting? In December? In December, they're going to start putting up the steel. If any of you haven't seen a building go up, the steel goes up, you'll be amazed at how fast it goes up, because it's all detailed and engineered. It all comes and it goes up like an erector set. It goes up very quickly. And then once they start working on the building enclosure, the building envelope, there's not that much large equipment that's moving on the site. So I would say that in the beginning of the project, this summer and fall is probably going to be the most substantial in terms of disruptive. And then in the summer of 19, the demolition of the existing building and the large earthwork operation, that will be consolidated into 3 or 4 months of fairly intense activity right up along Pearl Street. Again, it'll be limited to the hours of operation when the contractor operates between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m., but it's a necessary evil of the nature of the project.
And then also about the traffic flow onto Pearl. I know you guys said you're going to be coming around. I'm right there. I'm right over there. So I'd just like to get an idea of what the trucks should be coming. And
Sure, so I can take this. Sure. Sorry.
I know your concern was like community in the back, but I'm the guy in the front.
Agreed. So if we can advance this a little bit to the second phase. So at this point here, we're looking at about 5 to 10 trucks a day taking out demolition debris for that period of time, and that's probably going to be about, I'd say about, call it 10 weeks to 12 weeks, on an average of 5 to 10 trucks a day. After that, you're looking at probably 3 major deliveries a day when we're actually putting down the turf. And then there may be, when the actual stands show up, it may ramp up to maybe 8 trucks in that week that it's being delivered. But the impact is, I'd like to think is going to be minimal. I mean, our goal is to get in and out is, not when the school, impacting the school at all. So let's say after, 8:30 in the afternoon, that's when the deliveries come in. It comes into the site, they stop and they pull out.
I just have a quick question. When exactly in 2019 would you be doing the demolition of this lot?
Summer. So 2019, we turn over the building in June. So we would, again, it's going to take us probably.
Yeah, abatement.
I was going to say.
Month and a half.
So probably, yeah, let's say a month and a half. So I'm going to guess the demo will probably start in about early August, late July.
Okay.
The demo of the building. Yeah. Any other specifics?
You're going to crush everything on site quicker and cheaper, or are you going to haul it all out?
At this point here, that's going to be bid. It'll have to be bid. I don't know who decides if they're going to set up a crushing operation. I would assume that they're probably not. They'd probably load it up and then send it somewhere else to have it crushed, because we don't have it. It looks like a huge site, but I mean, if he's going to start crushing once he's got this done, he's now choked off that whole area, so I have no lay down. Right. So I mean, I can't say that won't happen because we haven't bid that out yet, but that contractor's going to have to come to us with a plan that's viable. Yes.
This might be a principal question. Come this September, I'll have a senior and a freshman, a senior driver. From the other drawing, I can see this lot will still be in place. All Adams Street is gone. The OMS parking lot is still open to parking, but everything else is fenced off. How are they getting up to the high school?
The access road will still be travelable. So, and it will still be open, and it's not blocked off at all by construction fencing, so they'd be able to make it up that way.
And construction trucks aren't coming in and out, so kids aren't.
They wouldn't be on that access road.
Yeah, and this will still be limited senior parking?
This will still, so we are going to build a little bit of a temporary parking lot sort of on our front lawn, which will be probably for administration and teachers because of where it's located. But that would shift some of the teachers from this lot over into that lot and open up a few more spaces over here.
That makes up for the lost atoms.
Yeah, a little bit, yep.
Any others?
This might be a question for you as well. Have there been any discussions about the traffic flow for both the high school and middle school for people doing drop-off during all of this?
There has been discussion about it, and it's been studied as well as part of the project. In September, it's going to be a learning curve for us, I think. We'll have to figure out exactly what it looks like. The studies can only go so far, but I think that we have a pretty good idea of how it will go. And with the construction vehicles already on site or the other ones coming after pickup and delivery or not interfering with our times, I think we'll be all set.
I can add on to that. When we're on the site and you start that first day of school, we'll have people assisting, letting people know where they can and can't go.
And with Consigli, I have right now for the foreseeable future, I have a weekly meeting scheduled with them. And so we have discussed already what our schedule looks like for next year in terms of the big dates that we have on schedule. So we'll be working really closely together to make sure that their construction schedule doesn't interfere with our operations.
Okay, because part of what I'm also concerned with is that the middle school, people are start waiting for pickup at 1 o'clock, 1:15. So,
yeah, and that happens here too. We have them lined on the street. That's right. Yeah, we'll be prepared for that.
So there's a clear separation. We don't have any construction vehicles on that access road on that first phase. And then on the second phase, we've actually cut it off, so there'll be no access for the public on that road. It'll stop at the middle school.
You're gonna make a temporary parking lot, corner of A and B building, like up here?
Like right in front of between the tree and the A building. Right?
Actually dead center front on this side right here.
The front up there.
Yeah, right up in front of the,
So are you gonna pave it or just put like reprocessed gravel so it's cheaper so we don't,
yeah, just like.
okay. What other money you got? Just to put new pavement down, work the heck up again, it's not worth it.
Question, would you stay in touch with the police department? We should have by that time 8 brand new officers on duty here that might relieve some of the situation here. The police officer here might go a little better.
Yeah.
And that you can talk to the chief on.
Of course, and we have a great relationship with the Stoughton Police Department. So not only do we have a school resource officer on site, but they're very good about when we have high traffic times to be here and to be available for us.
You're right. This is just a work in progress, and this thing one day might be a mess, and maybe a couple of days later cleaned up. So people have to be understanding of what's going on.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else?
No further questions?
Oh, can I just say one thing? For the construction company, if you want to see their work, they're also doing Sharon's police station and fire station down there.
That's my job. And the Holbrook High School, Holbrook K through high school.
Down there all the time. Nice area down there.
And that's on a very busy road, and we do make a lot of effort to make sure we don't impact the community there.
We're gonna fall in budget.
Absolutely.
Okay. I can hold you to that?
Of course. That's why they have value engineering. If we don't, I mean, we've done a lot of we've put a lot of effort into. We've done a lot of work to make sure that we've got the proper design.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Well, thank you all for coming.
Get this wrapped up here.
Oh, jeez. Oops.
I think you gotta go with both.
What, two? This is odd. In 2017, with the technology we have. True enough. So I'm TJ Recupero, and I was a bit late, so I texted so that Joel could get started and we could be on time. He also pointed out that Tim Bonfatti, who you heard speak today from Compass Project Management, was here a bit late himself and didn't get introduced. So that's Tim Bonfatti, and he'll be with us the next 4 or 5 years probably. But thank you all for coming. I don't want to keep you any longer. If you have any questions, I'm sure our consultant team will be hovering around to answer anything one-on-one. Thank you very much.